Hi, I am Sun-Joo Kim, Harvard-Yenching Professor of Korean History at Harvard University. This is the last segment of the 5-part presentations in which I examine the Tae-ch'ing family documents. The document that I like to present here is Yu Han-dang's examination answer sheet, which he composed in 1790. Yu Han-dang was a 6th-generation descendant of Yu Tae-ch'ing. In 1790, King Sun-Joo offered a special seasonal examination to literati from Seoul and the provinces in celebration of the birth of Man Day In-il, which is the 7th day of the first lunar month. According to the birth of Man Day entry in the record of the seasonal customs of Korea, Dongguk Saeshiki, students at the Royal Confucian Academy who had accumulated 30-day attendance points were eligible to take the exam. The highest scoring candidate sometimes received a higher civil service examination degree, and other candidates who scored a passing grade received awards in accordance with their scores. The examination took place at the Royal Confucian Academy, Seonggyung관, or on the palace grounds in the presence of the king. Yu took the exam as a provincial scholar from Chungcheong province, as recorded on the upper right corner of his answer sheet. King Sun-Joo personally graded the exams and returned the graded papers to the examinees. We know this thanks to this little yellow paper pasted onto the answer sheet with 2 characters "go" written on it. Yu Han-dang's score was Cha-sang, the lowest passing grade, and he received 2 writing brushes and 1 ink stick as his award. The exam prompt for provincial scholars posed by King Sun-Joo himself at the time of exam was to explicate the line, "The day is as long as almost an entire year," 일장 여 소년, in the form of rhymed pro, 부, and fu in Chinese. This line is from the poem Drunken Sleep by Dang Gang of the Northern Song. The task was to write an essay in verse by elaborating the meaning of this line. There were a number of different types of civil service examination in addition to the tri-annual regular examination in Joseon, Korea, and the management of the examinations changed over time. The exam answer sheets, 시권, in general, had 2 types, a horizontal and a vertical type. The former was made of several sheets pasted together side by side and was used for the higher as well as lower examinations of the tri-annual exam, augmented exam, and special exam. Kwon-Bul's exam answer sheet for the 1507 higher civil service exam is a good example of a horizontal type. Please note that the size of the paper, the width, is 210 centimeters, almost 7 feet. The vertical type was a single sheet of paper and was used for the palace exam, royal visitation exam, and Chundangdae exam, all of which the king presided over in person, as well as for the academic exam given at the Royal Confucian Academy and the 4 schools in Seoul to promote learning. Yu Han-dang took one of the seasonal academic examinations, and thus his answer sheet is of the vertical type. The philosophical foundation of the state examination system was meritocracy, selecting a man of talent through fair competition. However, many different types of cheating often intervened in the exam process in the late Joseon. To minimize cheating and protect fairness in the examinations, the court adopted a number of preventive measures. 3 measures were taken: 복미, 할봉, and 역서, to conceal the identity of the candidate and prevent collusion between a candidate and the examiners. Sealing the identification strip, 복미, consisted of folding the corner of the exam sheet where the candidate's personal information was recorded and sealing it so that his identity could not be seen. A serial number was written across the sealed and the body of the answer sheet, and then the sealed strip was cut off and saved in a secure chest until the grading was finished, after which the answer sheet and the sealed strip were rejoined. This method was called 할봉, literally meaning cutting the sealed strip. Copying, 역서, involved the exam answer itself being copied by scribes and only the copied answers being presented to the examiners for grading, so that examiners could not recognize a certain candidate by his particular calligraphic style or any secret marks placed on the exam sheet. In this example of Kwanber's 문과 examination sheet, the red rectangle part of the sheet was where the identity of the candidate was written. The name of the candidate followed by the identity of his 4 ancestors: father, grandfather, great-grandfather, and maternal grandfather. This part would be vertically folded a few times to conceal the identity and then sealed before a serial number was written across the sealed end and the body of the answer sheet. In this example, we see only part of the serial number because the other half would be written on the back of the sealed identity slip. Then the sealed part was cut off from the answer sheet, as our sample here shows, and the evidence of the 2 cut parts having been rejoined by tying them together. This is the original answer sheet, so we do not see any evidence of copying practice. These 3 large characters written on the exam sheet is the exam grade, the 2nd rank in the 3rd category of exam passers. The academic exam that Yoo Han-dang took was not an ordinary civil service examination that granted either a higher or lower examination degree. Therefore, the sealing method was simpler and there was no copying process. On the bottom right corner, the candidate wrote his name, occupation, age, clan seat, and residence on the first line, followed by his father's name and occupation in the second line. This personal information was brief in comparison to that given on exams such as the triennial exam, for which the candidate also identified his 3 generations of paternal ancestors and his maternal grandfather. According to Yoo Han-dang's answer sheet, he was a 37 years old scholar residing in Buyeo, and his clan seat was Kige. His father Yoo An-eun's occupation is recorded as 학생, the term used for a deceased Confucian scholar. After the identification strip was folded and sealed, you must have written, "Your humble servant," respectfully sealed it, 신근봉, across the sealed strip in the answer sheet because the exam was held in the presence of the king. Today, the sealed strip is unsealed, and the top halves of the three characters 신근봉 are visible right around the place where the sealing was done. The bottom half of these characters must be on the back of the answer sheet. The two characters O2 to the left of the identification information are a serial number. The submitted answer sheets were bound in groups of 10 in the order of their submission, and each sheet was assigned a non-personalized serial number in the order of the characters appearing in the book called 천자문, the 1,000-character classic. This serial number was usually written for the purpose of organizing the collected exam sheets. Yu Han-dang must have submitted his exam sheet rather early because his serial number is 35, as indicated by its being the fifth use of the Ju character after the 10 uses each of the Chun, Ji, and U characters. The two big red characters, Cha, Sang, across the bottom right of the sheet is the grade that you received. It was the lowest passing grade, and he received 2 writing brushes and 1 ink stick as his reward. There are the first 4 couplets that you composed as his answer to the examination theme. I count the days with falling leaves, a last one lingers as dormant. Leaf by leaf, spring turns into fall. The sun marks each round with noonday brilliance. The moon closes a cycle with afternoon rays. Heaven and earth swell amidst tranquility. Days flow imperceptibly into a year. My days are idle as a lengthy evening, yet each day is vivid as a blaze in the cycle of time. Yu Han-dang, like his ancestors, devoted himself to study for the civil service examination and must have taken the exam multiple times. As early as 1778, when he was 25 years old, he ranked first on the local preliminary examination, but did not pass the lower civil service examination held in Seoul. At the age of 37, he took this seasonal academic exam, which tells us that he was still trying. Yet, despite high expectations held by his parents and relatives, he failed to earn any examination degree.